Buenas tardes, good afternoon, bienvenidos a ¿Qué pasa mujer? ¿Qué pasa mujer? Es un programa bilingüe, algunas veces hablamos español, algunas veces hablamos inglés, depende del tema. ¿Qué pasa mujer? Is a show. We come on every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes we speak Spanish, sometimes we speak English, just depending on, the flow for the day. But we're here every Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing the show for about 3 years. Ya llevamos como 3 años haciendo este programa y estamos muy agradecidos con la plataforma que en realidad no nos dan ninguna restricción. Podemos hablar de cualquier tema que veamos importante. So we're very grateful to our platform, Pot TV, and our producer, Mark, because we truly have free range to talk about whatever we want to. We haven't been, slapped in the back of the hands or anything for saying anything out of line. So we're very thankful for the platform that we have available with myself, Viviana, and also Maddie is on the show with us. One of the things that we wanted to talk about today was Hispanic Heritage Month. As you guys know, or maybe don't know, because we don't like to assume, Hispanic Heritage Month starts September the 15th. And it ends October the 15th. A lot of people ask, why does it start at the beginning of the month? Why doesn't it start, September 1st or October the 1st? The reason is because around September the 15th, there's a couple of countries that have their Independence Day. And so that's why we decided as a nation of the United States to celebrate it, Hispanic Heritage Month during that time. So that's the reason why I was trying to pull up. But Hispanic Heritage Month was not always a month. It was a week before. So I think it was in 1968. That's when we started to do the Hispanic Heritage Week. And then it turned in 1988 with, we changed it over to, it became a month. So again, it starts on September 15th and it ends through October the 15th. And the reason being is because we celebrate, some of the countries have Independence Day around September 15th time. Estamos celebrando el mes de la herencia hispana. Nosotros empezamos esta celebración septiembre 15 y se termina octubre 15. En el 1968 empezó como una celebración que solamente duraba una semana. Empezando a 1988 empezó a ser un mes entero. Empezamos en septiembre 15 y terminamos octubre 15. Es una celebración que la hacemos una vez al año, dura un mes. Lo celebramos aquí en Estados Unidos. This is something that we celebrate here in the United States. Many regions of the country celebrate in different ways. There are some regions that maybe don't have as many Latinos in it. The population tends to be a little bit smaller. So maybe their celebration is small or non-existent versus in other places where we might have more Latinos and is more of a celebration. Sometimes even cities that might be next to each other. And that happens here where I live. One of the cities does an amazing job promoting Hispanic Heritage Month, promoting the Hispanic restaurants, the Hispanic-owned businesses. The libraries have Spanish reading sessions with children and adults. And then there's a city right next to it that doesn't do as much. So it just depends on the objectives of the city, the objectives of the community. If your community does not celebrate and you wish that they would celebrate a little bit more, then I would encourage for you to get involved in your community so you can initiate the celebration. Right, Maddie? ¿Cómo estás?
Buenas tardes, ¿qué pasa, mujer?
We were just talking, estaba hablando en español e inglés porque quiero que toda la audiencia sepa de lo que estamos hablando, pero estaba hablando de que depende de dónde estemos ubicados, la celebración de la herencia hispana pasa de diferentes maneras. Hay algunas ciudades, ciudades o estados en Estados Unidos que a lo mejor lo celebran o no lo celebran. A lo mejor no lo celebran porque no hay la población de hispanos. Algunas veces, por ejemplo, donde yo vivo, Hay una ciudad que hace o sea, ellos son estupendos en celebrar la herencia hispana durante ese mes y la ciudad que queda al ladito de esa no está tan ocupado con esas celebraciones. Entonces, si usted está en un lugar que en realidad no están celebrando mucho la herencia hispana, entonces ustedes pueden tomar la iniciativa de involucrarse más con su comunidad y empezar iniciativas para poder celebrar esta celebración que dura un mes, de octubre 15 hasta septiembre 15. Entonces,
De
esto,
septiembre 15 a octubre 15.
septiembre, ¿qué yo dije? ¿Agosto?
No dijiste octubre a septiembre.
Estoy atrasada. Bueno, I'm backwards. Voy a septiembre 15 a octubre 15, porque septiembre viene antes de octubre, ¿verdad? Sure, yeah. Bueno, hoy queremos hablar de la herencia, de nuestra herencia, porque es muy importante. Esto es algo que se celebra aquí en Estados Unidos. Yo estoy muy orgullosa, Mary también, de nosotras ser latinas, que somos mujeres, que somos latinas, que, por ejemplo, Mary nació aquí, pero yo no nací aquí. Las dos contribuimos a la economía de Estados Unidos, que son, ¿cuánto?
Creo que vamos
4
4.2 o 7, algo así.
Sí, porque está subiendo ese número y no importa cuántas deportaciones hay, todo como que ese número sigue subiendo, porque estamos gastando toda la plata que nos estamos ganando.
Dímelo a mí, sí.
Y como ahorita ya vienen las Navidad y Thanksgiving y todo eso, entonces se está gastando más plata. Entonces, como mi mamá se ríe de mí porque yo siempre digo que se tiene que circular el dinero amongst us. We have to, rotate the money amongst us. You make it, you got to spend it. That's how the economy works.
Exactly.
¿Verdad? Una de las cosas que quería hablar hoy, Mary, es de Bad Bunny, porque Bad Bunny está muy popular. Ya tú sabes que yo le doy mi vida a TikTok, mínimo 20 o 30 minutos diario. Esta semana he estado viendo muchos videos de TikTok con Bad Bunny. Me encanta la energía porque hay mucha gente que son americanos, que no son hispanos, y están muy contentos de que Bad Bunny va a ser el presentador de halftime de Super Bowl, right? Entonces yo me puse como a analizar la situación y dije, oh my God, esto es estupendo. Yo no soy puertorriqueña, pero soy latina y yo me tengo que conseguir un jersey para Super Bowl. No importa, ya lo tengo en mi shopping cart porque yo lo voy a comprar, Entonces no es solamente de que él está representando a los puertorriqueños, pero está representando a todos los hispanos, todos los latinos, no solamente aquí en Estados Unidos, pero en todo el mundo en realidad. Y ahorita te voy a contar mucho porque yo sé que tú estás muy excited de este tema, entonces yo voy a sacar mis energías primero antes que tú. Pero yo no me puse muy contenta sino hasta ayer y yo sé que ya llevo como una semana viendo esos videos, pero me puse a pensar, like, wow, qué dinámico, right? Él va a ser el primer hispano de habla español que le dan el show entero de Super Bowl. La primera vez de Super Bowl. Nosotros lo habíamos mencionado aquí antes que un año tuvieron a Jennifer Lopez y Shakira, pero ese tiempo de Super Bowl lo dividieron entre las dos. Right? Había mucha controversia con eso porque como es que normalmente le dan ese espacio solamente a un artista. Entonces la primera vez que iban a poner a alguien hispano latino se lo dividieron entre dos personas porque no darse solamente a una persona y las dos eran mujeres. Entonces en realidad esta vez con Bad Bunny va a ser la primera vez que un habla español, profesional, artista, va a estar en vivo en el Super Bowl y es un evento muy norteamericano. Entonces, me siento muy orgullosa de ser latina y de poder ver que voy a estar presente para ver la primera vez de algo tan especial. ¿Verdad, Mary?
Así mismo, así mismo. Esto es un evento histórico. Como dijiste, es la primera vez que un artista de habla hispana es headliner. Es la persona principal en encabezar el show de medio tiempo del Supertazón. Y es completamente en español. O sea, no sé si te has dado cuenta, pero ahora mismo, como dicen, Bad Bunny está hasta en la sopa. Está como el arroz blanco en todos los lados. Y me he dado mucha cuenta que últimamente él está haciendo un gran esfuerzo por hablar en inglés y hablar inglés apropiado, porque usualmente él habla, él es un artista que eso es una de las cosas que yo personalmente admiro de él, no tanto como he dicho siempre, yo soy un Bad Bunny fan en el closet, porque él tiene la lírica que yo digo, Dios mío, yo no quiero que mis hijos anden cantando esa lírica así por así, pero al mismo tiempo es un ritmo que infecta y como catchy, y cuando tú vienes a ver estás cantando también y se te olvida lo que estás cantando. Esa soy yo. Pero sí, sí me encanta que él hace lo que él quiere, él produce lo que él quiere, él habla como quiere. Y cuando él comenzó a infiltrarse en el mercado norteamericano, él comenzaba a hablar en inglés y si se le olvidaban las palabras, hablaba en español y no le importaba. Ahora no, ahora él ha estado haciendo un gran esfuerzo por hablar completamente en inglés. No sé si tuviste la oportunidad de ver el show de SNL anoche, de Saturday Night Live. Él fue el host, es the opening season, fue el show de la apertura de la temporada número 51 de SNL, que es un show de comedia, y esta es su cuarta participación. Esta es la segunda vez que él ha hecho de host y la cuarta vez participando en el show, punto. Pero fue todo en inglés y habló muy bien en inglés. Me encantaron los skits. Él hizo un skit del Chavo del Ocho en inglés. Hicieron como un remake del Chavo del Ocho y fue, it was great to see. Fue fantástico de verlo en inglés porque trataron de hacerlo todo en inglés, pero para nosotros los que estamos acostumbrados a ver el Chavo del Ocho en español fue, para mí fue bien nostálgico y and it was incredible. So I was so happy to kind of be able to see that. Pero otra vez, el esfuerzo que él está tomando y creo que muchas de las disputas que la gente han estado teniendo en los videos es quién va a estar en el show con Bad Bunny, a quién él va a traer. Y hay un sinnúmero de posibilidades desde artistas hispanos, americanos, de todo. Hay una lista como 20 artistas y he can't go wrong. It's like, he cannot go wrong. Hay tantas personas que él puede invitar, que pueden venir y hacer tremendo show con él. So I'm just so excited.
Sí, y mira, yo me siento muy entusiasmada y de verdad que me pasó como anoche. Todas estas emociones me empezaron anoche y yo me puse a pensar, oh my God, esto es tan estupendo porque él es el primero, right? Entonces después como que empecé a ver en mi mente diferentes cosas. Entonces en TikTok hay personas que están haciendo traducción de las palabras que él usa, el vocabulario que él usa en sus canciones, por si uno no sabe qué es lo que significa. Entonces, como ustedes saben, el dialecto de nosotros es todo diferente, right? So even though like...
Se llama jerga. La jerga, cada país latino tiene una jerga diferente. Él está utilizando o utiliza en sus canciones la jerga puertorriqueña. Tú eres colombiana, yo soy dominicana. La jerga de nosotros es diferente dependiendo del país. That's like your everyday language. Él utiliza la jerga puertorriqueña. Si tú no eres de esa cultura, se te va a hacer un poquito más difícil, aunque es en español, poder entenderla.
But no worries. TikTok is taking care of it because they have different people doing like a lesson. Like there was one lady with a whiteboard, with her expo markers, and she wrote all the possible vocabulary words that we might hear during Super Bowl. And then she was pointing to it. So she was like, Titi, this is what Titi means, or like different vocabulary words that he's going to be using. I just thought it was amazing because a lot of people, I think I forgot who I was listening to, but they were saying back in the day, they would say, "Oh, what kind of Mexican are you?" Right? Because people here in the United States don't understand our culture, and it's not to their faults because it's not something that they teach in
Mhm.
school, right? If you know about it, is because you have decided to teach yourself.
Mhm.
But even amongst us, I always tell people it's kind of like we all speak the same language, right? But it's I make the comparison of somebody that speaks English from New York versus somebody that speaks English from Alabama. Sometimes you may not understand everything that they're saying. And so it's the same thing with us. Colombians may speak one way, and Dominicans, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, Bolivianos, Argentinians, everything might be different. So the dialect is different. The way that whatever you hear, even if you don't understand the language, sounds different. Like the tones of going up and down and all that stuff, it sounds different. And also, even within our country, like I'm Colombian, so even people within Colombia, there's different regions in the
Mhm.
country, and they may have different lingo that they use, different accents that they use,
Or
and
even
so
the cadence, like the
yeah,
cadences are
yeah.
different. Mhm.
So we have it's just this bowl of diversity, but when we come together, I don't know if I mentioned this, but my mom works for a nonprofit organization, and she works with a lot of seniors. And every Tuesday they meet up as an educational social event for the senior citizens that are, most of them are bilingual, but it's just it's a pot of all of these seniors that come from so many different countries, and there's just a handful of people that are not Latino, so they come and join because they like the diversity that's within the group. And of course, they come for the food initially, but they really end up enjoying the people that are there. So I just think I really want to encourage people that don't know our culture to, number one, think about embracing it,
Mhm.
and think about what are some things that you could do to learn more about it. It could even start off as going to a local Mexican restaurant, because there's one usually everywhere, and just engaging and asking some questions of the server. That alone would kind of get the
Mhm.
conversation going, to gain more knowledge.
Yep. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. You kept saying that you became proudful of everything that is going on like just recently. Let me tell you, for me, it started the day of his live stream show. He did Bad Bunny hizo su último show de su residencia que tuvo en Puerto Rico, y lo dejó que Amazon Prime lo pasara en vivo. Okay, so he did a live stream. Okay, it has been the biggest event ever over Taylor Swift, mostly the most well artist right now, over Beyonce, over everybody you can think of. I think the closest person had like 6 million views in their live stream. He had 11, almost double what they had. I mean, like, it was incredible. And the show itself was amazing. Like I said, like, I'm not Puerto Rican, but like, I was watching and I was screaming. Like, I have a bunch of videos that I can't post because you can't hear him. All you hear is me screaming in the background, and it was like the entire show. And then he has this way of bringing the old and the new together in a beautiful way. And people are thinking that he's just doing things just to do. He is not. Everything he does is so calculated. Everything means something. The whole stage, the clothes that the people were wearing, the instruments that they were using, everything had a meaning. And he had, it's like one stage was supposed to be mountains and trees, and there were stages like up in the mountains, and he had like the number one cuatro player from Puerto Rico playing like doing his own mini concert up there. And then he was dressed as a jíbaro. A jíbaro is a person from the mountains and the country, un campesino. En Puerto Rico se le llama jíbaro. He had everybody dressed as jibaros. Like they were not wearing belts, they were wearing ropes as belts, you know, and everything from the hat, the pava, it's called a pava, the hats, the outfits, everything, you know, it had meaning. And then he had the casita, which was a staging of a house. And in the casita, he had like the reggaeton players, you know, the reggaeton musicians, and like the, you know, like the party going on there, and the traditional going on in the mountains. And it was just like the whole thing was just gorgeous. It was beautiful. He did so much to bring the old part of the culture with the new, and embrace it. So I loved it. Since I saw that concert, I couldn't stop talking about it. And then when I saw him, that he came out with an ad with that picture of him sitting on the gold thing, I was like, oh, what in the world? So yeah, so talking about that, I already ordered my Benito shirts. I have like 3 or 4 T-shirts, you know, that said, you know, debí tirar más fotos, and et cetera, et cetera. And then I ordered me some Benito shoes, which is pretty the most exciting thing. And my husband and my kids said like, oh yeah, they're cute, but why are you ordering sneakers? You never wear sneakers. You're always wearing high heels. And believe me, if he had heels that said Benito, I would probably order those too. But because they're sneakers, you know, I ordered me a pair of sneakers. But yes, I am going to be Benito down from head to toe the day of the Super Bowl.
I love it. I love it. And you know, when Shakira and Jennifer Lopez were on, that was in 2020. Jennifer
Mm-hmm.
Lopez, I don't know if you guys remember, but there's a documentary on Netflix about this. And Jennifer Lopez had, so even though they did like a thing together with Shakira, they still had their own little few minutes where they kind of did their solo appearance. Jennifer Lopez had cages around the stage. And so that was her, it was a symbolism to show the administration at the time and immigration, and how they were separating children from their families. So that was like a message that was sent during her performance. And so I am 100% sure Bad Bunny is going to do the same thing. There is going to be multiple messages about some, you know, some of them are super obvious, and some of them are hidden messages as to where how our community feels about immigration at the moment, or about community, or about how we're embraced here. I know sometimes there's a comedian that I listen to. Her name is Ida. I have to pull up her
Yes,
name.
I know Ida. She's hilarious. She's half
Oh my gosh,
Puerto
she's
Rican
funny.
and half Dominican.
Yes. So she talks all the time about let me pull it. Aida Rodriguez. She talks a lot about you know, how I think her stepdad was Cuban, somebody was Puerto Rican, somebody was Dominican, and she has this joke about the fact that Puerto Ricans feel like they're the best because they're citizens, they're US citizens, you know. So I
Yeah, man.
think
Yes,
that
it is.
Bunny, yeah. So Bad Bunny's really gonna have. I'm really looking forward to that piece of it, because yes, he has this music that maybe the older generation are not so much in tune, or are not loving because of the verbiage that he uses. But he is really an intelligent man, and he's really sending out a nice, loud message with his music. That if we
Mhm,
take the time to listen to, we will hear the message.
mhm. Yep, agree 100%. One of the little details that people might miss if they don't pay attention is, for example, his usage of the flag. He uses the Puerto Rican flag, but he uses the original Puerto Rican flag. If you see like all his advertisement and all the stuff that he uses, the flag has light blue. Where the star is at, it has light blue. It has the lighter colors. That's the original flag that was banned by the US. That's the original Puerto Rican flag that was banned by the US. And he has a promo where he is like where he's announcing like the album, Debí tirar más fotos, and he shows him running with a flag and the police chasing him because he is carrying the original flag. So instead of carrying like the modern version, or the version that's accepted by the US, you know, which is the flag that we know today, he uses the old one. So like I said, everything with him is a protest. He is standing up for his culture, for what he believes, for, you know, being original, you know. So yeah, so he's like putting himself out there, and I can't wait for the statement that he's gonna make. And like I said, everything with him, it's like he takes, like, you know where he stands, and sometimes it might come out as, dirty or whatever. Like, we're like, oh yeah, he's just saying this. No, he's not. Everything, he thinks very carefully about everything that he says, and everything that he does, and everything has meaning. And before we continue talking, this is what Viviana usually does, but I am going to do it myself today. I want to take a little bit of time to acknowledge our audience. So hi to Tangi, and Tangi at one point said, thank you for speaking English for me. We love you, Tangi. Thank you for tuning in. A Lili Matos, como siempre, un beso, Lili. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. And then we have Jackie Harley. She's with us today. So, hello, how are you, Jackie? We have Nicaudy Jackson también con nosotros. So, welcome. Y gracias por estar con nosotros hoy. Thank you for tuning in and being with us. And hopefully you are as excited as we are talking about Bad Bunny.
And if you're not, start to. Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Yeah, I think it's just amazing.
That's right.
I just love it. I don't know what I was watching, but they kind of, because his full name is Benito Antonio. You know how we have like long names? Like mine is Viviana Paola. Yeah. So he's like Benito Antonio Martinez, you know? So I just love it. I love our culture. I love what we're doing with it. And this is really like a pivotal time to expose the things that who we are, right? Because we truly bring diversity to this country, and diversity has been here forever. It just has transformed and it looks different, but diversity has always been here.
Yeah, and I think, everybody is bashing the NFL and saying, that how dare they, that why are they doing this, that a lot of the people that are watching the Super Bowl are going to be upset or lost, that they're going to lose this audience. And, when in reality, the NFL, it's American football. So the American crowd, they have it on lockdown. So, as a business, they're trying to attract other audiences and other people from other places. Like, for example, they've been doing games or playing games in other countries. They've been playing games outside of the US. They recently just played in Brazil, and actually, Carol G, who's your compatriota from Colombia, she played in the halftime of that particular game, and it was beautiful. And she did a little Spanglish thing. I saw that video too, and that was awesome. But she got to play in that game. But saying that to say, they're trying to bring people from all over the world. So what better way to bring people from all over the world than to play an artist that's being streamed everywhere, that's well known everywhere, and that's pulling the numbers that he has been pulling. So I also love, like you said, that everybody knows him. His artistic name is Bad Bunny, but he is making sure that everybody knows that yes, he's Bad Bunny, but he's Nito too. So now his first name or his name is synonymous with his artistic name, and people know that he is him, and you can interchange. And that's beautiful when you can be famous with both your artist name and your real name. So I praise him for that a lot. So. You're on mute, Viviana. You're on mute.
Sorry. We were going to talk about All Hispanic Heritage Month today, but really this Bad Bunny, and it's not just about Bad Bunny, right? It's just the message, the connection. He's being put in this stage for a reason at this time, and he's really going to be taking advantage of it, I'm sure. And I don't know. It's sometimes I understand it could be challenging for some people to accept moves like this, right? But if we really sit down and think, it's something that has been happening. It just gets done in different ways, and I truly, I encourage everyone to kind of just learn a little bit more, right? Like Maddie says all the time, like let's educate ourselves, because I don't think we're going anywhere. Like we're going to be here, and it's not just our culture, it's not just the Hispanics, but just people from other cultures, whether it's Asians, Europeans, Africans. Everybody is it's truly a melting pot. Like I know before it was known for, like, let's say New York to be the melting pot, but we have really it's really truly spreading to so many places. I live here in Virginia, and about 10% of the population is Hispanic or Latino, and that's just the ones that were counted towards the census. So many people were not counted in the census, but
Mhm.
just those numbers continue to go up, and it's just amazing.
Mhm.
I was reading what Tangi. So Tangi was saying, "Why was the flag banned?" If you know, Maddie, and then she also said, "I'm so excited that Bad Bunny is performing. I believe he will be intentional and hope and pray he represents. I'm sure he will, because, like you said, Maddie, like he knows exactly what he's doing. He's very intentional about what he's doing, and he has a team with him." Also that contributes to the things that he's doing and the things that he's saying. So, Maddie, do you know why the flag was banned? I don't know if you know. I don't know why it was banned. Um, I don't know if Maddie, you could hear us. But one of the things that I wanted to talk.
Let's see.
Okay, there you go. Dinos, tell us.
Are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So according to Google, Dr. Google said it says the original light blue Puerto Rican flag was not officially removed but suppressed under the U.S. imposed gag law in 1948, which made displaying it a crime. When the flag was officially adopted in 1952, its symbolism was redefined and the colors of the triangle was liberated, changed to a darker navy blue to align with the American flag. I did remember the gag law a little bit. It said following the U.S. invasion in 1898, the Puerto Rican flag was initially banned as a symbol of sedition. This was formalized in 1948 with the passage of Law 53, La Ley de la Mordaza, which means gag law. I think, that aligns a little bit too with, again, I keep referring back to the last concert that, or the concert that Benito got to stream through Amazon. The last song that he sang on that concert was Preciosa. Preciosa was a song that was made very well known by Mark Anthony at some point, but that song was supposed to have been the national anthem of Puerto Rico. And Rafael, which he mentions in the song, was the original writer of the song, and he was an activist. And on that song, he has a line where he talks about, like it doesn't matter. Like your black heart, and people took it as he was talking about color, but he was not talking about color. He was talking more about a person with bad feelings, kind of,
Like a
como
darkness.
una persona no buena, was trying to kind of correct shut them up, and because of that the U.S. prohibited or made it illegal too, under the gag law, La Ley de la Mordaza, for them to play that song. So that became their underground national anthem. And then, like I said, Mark Anthony made it known as a regular song, but when he chose to play that, he said he had not played that song in any of the other concerts, and that one was being televised, and people were told that they couldn't, use that as their anthem. And for him to use that platform to play that particular song, and like I said, raise the flag with a light blue on, it like when I'm telling you this and I'm getting goosebumps, and I'm like, like raising my fist, and I want to go into, it's, it was amazing. And it was a statement that if you know why he did it, it's like, oh my God, but to people, he was just raising a flag and singing a song that was made by Mark Anthony. It was not. That song means a lot, so much more. And that's why I don't know if you got to see, there were so many videos of people crying when Mark Anthony came out and when they were singing that song, but it was a little bit of all of that in there. So yeah, like I said, everything he does has meaning.
I love it. So one thing that I wanted to say too, and I'm going to say this in Spanish and English because I think it's important. Maddie and I have this year, we have intentionally posted certain people on our social media platforms highlighting Hispanic Heritage Month. I've done it in my way. Maddie has done it in her way, and we're not collaborating. This is something that we're just doing because this is what we have chosen to do. It's intentional for us as individuals. It's not intentional for Que Pasa Mujer or our friendship. It was just something that we decided to do as individuals. So I encourage people that are not Hispanic or Latino to embrace it and to learn more. And then I encourage Latinos and Hispanics to do the same, right? Educate yourself and highlight other people, because I think that's one of the reasons why we're so divided. Pienso que esa es una de las razones porque estamos tan divididos algunas veces, porque no tenemos conocimiento de lo que mi hermano ecuatoriano está haciendo, o a lo mejor tengo celos de lo que está haciendo. Entonces es primordial nosotros darle ese honor, ese respeto a otra gente que está haciendo bien para la comunidad. Por ejemplo, mi abuelita tiene un doctor que se llama Juan Salazar, él es colombiano, aquí en Hampton, Virginia, y mucha gente va con él. Hay mucha gente que no son hispanos quieren ir con él, y esas cosas son importantes. I think it's important to acknowledge people for what they do and how they do it, not necessarily where they come from or what other languages they speak. So like, for example, my grandmother's primary doctor, his name is Juan Salazar. He's here in Hampton, Virginia. He's Colombian. And so he all of his patients are not Hispanic. There's a lot of non-Hispanics that want to go to him because he's a really good doctor. And I know, Maddie, you highlighted Dr. Carlos Silva as well on one of your posts, right? So I would really encourage for you guys to do a little bit of homework, que hagan un poquito de tarea y busquen gente local de donde ustedes están, y aprendan de que estas personas existen. I encourage you to, wherever city you may be in, whatever country you're in, if it's not Hispanic, there's a lot of Hispanics that are doing things besides housekeeping and construction. And I will put myself in that category. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a tutoring business. I'm Colombian. I'm in Hampton, Virginia, and I do a lot of things with the community. So I'm not your typical stereotype person what a Latino does. Same thing with Maddie. She's in the financial world. She works for a very large bank. She's an author. She's not doing housekeeping and she's not doing construction. Do we do a great job at housekeeping and construction? Yes, we do. We do an amazing job. But we do all sorts of things. That's not the only thing that we do. And you guys have been able to see even within the guests that we have had on the show, because I don't think we've invited a housekeeping or a contractor to the show. We have to, but we haven't done that yet. But we have a truly diverse women and men in our society that contribute, again, to the economy, but also contribute to family and to the culture that we represent. So I think that that's important to do that. But I've been liking all the highlights that you have been doing, Maddie, because you've done a lot of local people, correct?
Thank you. Yes. So yeah, I just like, you and I talked about it, and it's like talked a little bit about the people that are around us, and that's one of the things, that I do say, this is an outstanding member of our community, and this is how I got to know this person, for whatever reason, and this is what I think of this person, but let me introduce you to. And then, I had asked them, I reached out to everybody individually and kind of asked them to tell me a little bit about about themselves, and ask them the same 3 questions, just simple questions. And I love to see like the answers and the things that, people, have been sharing, and like getting to know people. Like I said, Dr. Silva, I met Dr. Silva. He's, a client of mine at the bank. And I remember he had invited me to an event that he did for his employees. And, he thought, enough of me to have me there. But that's when I discovered that he likes to ballroom dance, and he's really good. Him and his wife, they're really good at it, and they do it as a hobby. But I would have never in a million thousand years think that he did anything like that. And it was like, oh my God, what in the world is happening? And then he came out with his costume, and they did their thing, and it was amazing. But it's little things like that. One, getting to know one another and like what we do and what we like. I'm pretty sure that if my clients that see me at the bank every day, they're not necessarily going to think that I am on a stage and, doing poems and, addressing people or whatever, So, it's beautiful to kind of know what we like to do on the side, the things that are important to us, but most of all, that we are regular human beings and that we represent, todos los lados de la comunidad, lo bueno, lo malo. I always say, they like to highlight a lot of negative, and any culture, every people, any color, there's good and bad everywhere, so we have to highlight everything, and represent ourselves. And it is important to have positive representation. That, like you said, there's nothing wrong with being a construction worker. They make a lot of money. There's nothing wrong with being a housekeeper. If you have a housekeeping business, you can make a lot of money, but we are also doctors and tutors and, bankers. And, there's so much more. We are, we do constructions, but we are engineers too, so there's a lot of other areas too that we need to highlight, that people know that we are there. And like I said, to serve as an example for those that are watching us and like, oh, it's possible. Oh yeah, that's out there. We are out here, and there's a little bit of everything in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. One of the people that I highlighted in one of my posts was John Leguizamo. And he has a Netflix special called Leguizamo's Latin History for Morons. And I encourage everyone to watch it because, yes, there's comedy to it, but there's a lot of truth to it. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that you have to watch multiple times because mm-hmm. you gain different, like you almost want to pause it and take notes like a history class, because mm-hmm. it gives you so much insight. And then the comical piece to it, it's, it just makes it more entertaining. But for a long time, I didn't know he was Colombian, and I just think that, again, we oversee people because mm-hmm. we're not intrigued to find out who's Latino, who's not.
Yeah. And in that show, what the beauty of that particular documentary is that he went textbook. Because one of his biggest complaints is that we are being erased out of the history books. So he went back in history and he highlighted our Hispanic influences in those textbooks, and I love that about that complete documentary. And he, of course, he's hilarious, and like he dresses up and he acts and he, so it's beautiful. And like Viviana said, if you haven't watched it, go out and take a little bit of time and watch it. You're not going to be disappointed. But like you said, you have to watch it a couple of times, and every time you watch it, you'll catch a little bit more, because like I said, he does talk about history. So if you're not too familiar with history, the things that he mentions, you might miss it. But yeah, he literally went to the textbooks on us with that documentary.
Yes, I love that. And then I also highlighted Olga Torres. Tell me what you think about her. She's one of our favorites.
I can't, like, sometimes I feel, I feel really weird about having an opinion, because, when they become your friends, it's like, okay, you don't count because you like me regardless of what. But she is an amazing human being. Olga is an amazing human being as a person, period. But then I also love the professionalism of everything she does. She is a translator, but she wants to connect people of all areas. People that might not necessarily meet walking down the street, she's like, I see her as like pulling this person and pulling that person and be like, oh, you guys got to meet each other, you know. And that's kind of how she has served. And in order for her to be able to do that, she has infiltrated herself in all these areas, you know, and kind of made a name for herself, that now, you know, you see Olga's name anywhere, and you know, you can't help but to think about the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You can't help to think about all these civil organizations that are working on helping Latino votes, and you know, making sure that we have representation, that people that are looking for jobs have somewhere to go, that people that need an attorney know who to look for. You know, that's what I think of when I think of Olga. And her thing is, again, she wants everybody in the community to know the resources that are available for people to connect and highlight women. So I'm just really proud to know her, of the work that she does, and her selflessness, because you know, a lot of the things, 90% of the things that Olga does, she does not get paid for. She does it out of the love of her community. And I, you know, I just, yeah, there's, yeah, I can take the rest of the show and continue to talk about her. Yeah.
Let me
But yeah,
tell you what I love. Let me tell you what I love about Olga. And I don't think I've told her this, but I'm gonna tag her and send this video to her. But this is what I love about Olga. I met her years ago, and we didn't. We were cordial towards each other, but it wasn't that, you know, connection. You know what I'm saying, that you would get with some people. And she's a Pisces like me, and I didn't know this, but once I found out, I was like, oh, she must be nice, you know. But not until this past year did we have a chance to really talk, you know, because you could meet people in the community, but I always saw Olga as this person that just, she really took it upon herself to be known in the community, to be able to help, not for herself, but to be able to help and to make those connections, right? And I just think she just does it so naturally, right? And she doesn't hold grudges towards people that have come into our community to say they're going to do, and they don't do. I saw her a couple of weeks at an event, something that we did, a program that we did together, and there was a lady that came in the room. As soon as she came in the room, Olga was like, I don't know her. So I'm thinking to myself, if Olga doesn't know her, then she must be new to the area. You know, that's what I initially thought. So Olga tells me, hey, let's talk to her. You know, let's make her feel welcome. So Olga does this for other people. She doesn't do it for herself. And she pulled me along to do it with her, you know? And so I thought that, I think that's what I love about her. And I've seen it with my own eyes. And the lady had only been here 5 months. And that's why Olga didn't know her. So exactly what I thought was true, because Olga truly knows everybody. Everybody knows Olga in some capacity. And all of it has been in a positive capacity, to my understanding. And, you know, you can't satisfy everybody, but I haven't met anyone that doesn't know Olga, or if they had something bad to say about her, they just didn't say it, you know, because it doesn't match who she is. But I just think she's an amazing person, and so humble, so humble. And I think she has been, I don't know if she truly does this intentionally. We're gonna have to bring her back on the show and talk about this. But this is just her. This is her. I think she has truly identified her gift, and I want to highlight her because you can be that person. Wherever city, wherever state you're located, you can be that person to be able to do that for your community, Latino, not Latino. It doesn't have to be race based. It could be an age. It could be mothers. It could be military wives. It could be teachers. It could be divorced mothers, just to create a community where we're able to support each other. I think it's just amazing. I wanted to read a comment from Lily. She said, somos unas grandes personas, multifacéticos. He visto un neurólogo limpiando edificios por falta de papeles. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Verónica también nos manda saludos, Verónica Sola. Verónica también ha estado en el show con nosotros. Ella es enfermera, pero ella también creo que es directora de un programa donde tienen estudiantes que quieren ser enfermeros. So también una persona muy importante en la comunidad. También Iván Urueña nos manda saludos desde Colombia. Él es mi primo, pero en realidad él es mi hermano. Like, he's amazing. Un día de estos también a lo mejor lo invitamos al show, pero él es un poco tímido cuando se le da la gana. But yeah, so I just think one thing that I wanted to talk about before the show ends. So I also highlighted Afro Latinos, and I put you on the list, Maddie. I don't know if you saw your name up there or not, but there are so many. Sometimes we think about Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, which is cool, but there are so many other people that encompass our culture. So I on purpose, I initially started, I highlighted myself, right? And then I went immediately into highlighting the women that have influenced me, which is my mother, my grandmother, and my aunts. And then I think I just highlighted my grandmother because she has been a great influence in my life. But then I wanted to be a little bit diverse. And this is not something, my degree's in marketing, Maddie. And usually I tend to like map things out for like the 30 days. With this project here, in the mornings, I just follow whatever my inspiration is for the day. So it's extremely organic. My posts have been extremely organic. So I really wanted to highlight the Afro Latinas, men and women. And because we have a lot of celebrities and a lot of local people as well. And then I also highlighted, I don't know if I did it yet, but one of the ones that I wanted to highlight was just men in general, because a lot of the times we highlight women and what women are doing, and because I'm a woman. But I think also that we have a strong presence in the Latino community with men as well that are doing a lot of positive things. Your turn to talk, because I think I went for like 10 minutes.
No, I agree. I love it. I love it. It's like, and there's so much too that we don't know, and I think, one of the things that is different, nowadays is like we talk about this all the time, when we come from other countries or other cultural backgrounds, sometimes, the goal before was just to fit in, to assimilate, and for somebody to lose their accent, or even, as women, we get married and we change our last names, and now you have an American last name, so there's no trace of you, or obvious trace of you being Hispanic, and people are kind of afraid to ask, because, you don't want to offend anybody. So you are afraid to ask. But then, now it has become more like, I am this is me, and it's okay that this is part of me. So what we're getting to see now is we do get to see a lot of people that you never thought were Hispanic, and you're like, oh my God, that person, it's Hispanic, they have, Hispanic, roots, Sunny from The View, is one of the perfect examples. She's, her mother is Puerto Rican, and she talks, she goes on the, on the show The View, and she talks about her heritage and her culture, and it's little things. One of the things that I love about her is that when she's talking about anything, Hispanic, if she is pronouncing somebody's name, like the other day they highlighted Roberto Clemente. He's a legend, an icon, baseball player. He was the first, Black Afro-Latino to represent in the major leagues. And she goes, oh, we're highlighting for Hispanic Heritage Month, Roberto Clemente. And she said it with this accent that it was like, oh my God, she's feeling it too, So that is beautiful, to see one paying respect, to the language, paying respect to the culture, because I'm pretty sure that Roberto Clemente would love to have been called Roberto Clemente and not Roberto, because that's not his name, So I love that, about her. But, she talks a lot about, her background and her upbringing and, her family history. And, that's beautiful to see. So, and she's also an attorney, and it's like, what is it called? ¿Cómo se dice? Ella era, oh God, a prosecutor. I couldn't think of the word. She was a prosecutor. So, to see a Hispanic in that position. And then now, she is, the host, one of the hosts of The View, one of the most syndicated shows, out there right now, so it's beautiful to see. So again, seeing a lot of people that not necessarily you can tell are Hispanic, and then you find out that they are Hispanic, and it just makes you even prouder, if, that's a word. It is now. I'm prouder.
Prouder than ever.
Exactly. And thank you, Viviana. Thank you for thinking of, little on me.
Yeah, no, I think you're awesome. Because you're, I know you think I'm joking, but literally, you are the one person that can count on to give me goosebumps. I'm serious. The first day that I met Maddie, I saw her at this I think it was a restaurant, and she was performing, and she did a bilingual poem, and it was my first time hearing a bilingual poem. And you guys know I'm Colombian. I grew up in New Jersey, New York, and but as an adult, I have been here in Virginia, and I had never heard a bilingual poem until I met Maddie, and it was just, I was like, oh my God, it was just amazing. But I do want to answer this question. Tangi said, why do you say Hispanic instead of Latino? I was told that the white man named Spanish doesn't people Hispanic, meaning Hispanic. Are you aware of this? Maddie, you want to take this one?
Well, we use that. Okay, so the both terms, the Hispanic and the Latinos, were kind of given to our community by the United States, and they do mean the same but different. So, for example, if you mention Latino, if you say Latino, it just means a country from Latin America. And as we know, not all Latin American countries speak Spanish. So Latino is kind of like a geographical term. So again, you are Latino, you belong to Latin America. So again, and that includes Brazil, who speaks Portuguese, and then Haiti, who speaks French. But then when you go to the term Hispanic means that you are from a country in Latin America, but your main language is Spanish. So that's kind of like the main difference. And that's why we use both of them interchangeably, because for me, at least for me, and for Viviana too, both of those are true. You are from a country in Latin America and you speak Spanish. So I'm okay with being called both. There's been other terminologies out there like Latinx, that's just means the X is just means like non-binary, but it includes also our LGBTQ community and things of that nature. So that terminology is out there as well. So yeah, so it just kind of depends on how you want to highlight that and how you want to represent. But I think basically the Hispanic and Latino, we can use them interchangeably depending on where you're from.
Yeah. And I don't know, I'm not familiar with the his space panic part. I'm not familiar with that. I did see that in TikTok, and it was just men talking about ladies dating women that are Hispanic, and they were just kind of talking about our high-blooded attitude at times.
Spicy Latinas.
Yeah, just a little mild. And just depending on the interaction, it could get a little spicy, but we start off mild.
Yes. I do want to say to Tangi's point, I do have a poem, or we did write a poem as part of my team group dynamic. And one of our lines that we say is, because, I am his panic, like I'm proud to be Hispanic. And then we're talking about who, because I don't know why he's afraid of Hispanic people, but anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. But yeah, we do use that line in there, and I think it's funny, I think it's hilarious, and if he's afraid, we're here to stay.
Yeah. So our hour is up, and as you
No.
know, we always ends with one of our Maddie's poems. So we're go ahead, we're ready.
Awesome. So, as always, I walk into the show and I have like no clue what I'm gonna do. And I know I've been doing this poem a lot, but I think like right now it is called for. I'm feeling it in my blood, and I am gonna do this poem that you've heard before, but it has new energy, I think, from me today. So, hopefully, I'll get through it without fumbling. Anyway. So I wrote this poem again after Lou Portales' accents. For years, I carried shame between my teeth. The daughter of immigrants who never really learned to speak English. The enemy I learned to keep close. A jack in the box that would surprise me whenever it would come out, making me the clown. You see, in my head, the words always made perfect sense. But then my thoughts would hit my tongue, my lips, the words doing backflips. A reminder que aquí se habla español. That I will never fully earn my place. Born in the land of the free. But to Trump lovers, I will always be an other for being the daughter of foreigners. Spanish will always be my safe space. But English loves to keep me caged, never freely accepted. The weight of the world reflected on how heavy it gets when I speak it. That instead of trying to understand me, all you hear is aquí se habla español. That 49 years later, I'm still trying to convince my tongue that we are enough, that my Spanish will never take away because it is always a plus, that my English, no matter how broken, will always continue to build me up, that we deserve to roam every single space that we occupy, like Shakira dancing champeta at the Super Bowl halftime show, or Bad Bunny's revolutionary album, Debí tirar más fotos de cuando te tuve. Aquí siempre se va a hablar español. Los ancestros, la guía, este acento, historia, bravía de quienes fuimos y de quien soy. And for everyone that cringes whenever they hear my accent, you are correct. Aquí se habla español.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love the new energy with it today. I sensed it. Yes. Veronica say ese es huepa. Hey, before we go, huepa means what?
Wepa, it's like what you do when you are excited or when something excites you, or you're like, yeah, chévere, bravo, wepa, so it's a way of celebrating.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so again, we're going to be talking about Hispanic Heritage Month until it's over, and even afterwards, because we want to make sure that you guys are in tune with everything that's happening in the Hispanic community, and we'll give you updates on Bad Bunny as well. Maddie is always on top of it. So we hope that you guys have an amazing week on purpose, as Tangi would say. And we will be here on next Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. De nuevo. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Mark.
Whether you're a seasoned designer, dabbler, or just starting out, this course is for you.
Are just so impressed with them. Like I said, we've been with them for years. I will recommend and refer anyone to them. We stand by A+ academics. They're the best.
A+ tutorial really did help me with all my grades. They all went up when I came to this place. And I would say I recommend this school to everyone.
So it's a really good environment to be in, especially for me because it makes me look up to my parents.
If you have students that need academic help, A+ Academics is the place to be.
A+ Academics, what a great place to go for academics.
It's just a really great place to learn.